Hello, so today we're just going to be doing the second part, or I'm just going to be doing the second part of the chocolate making video, the Mexican chocolate making video. So in the last video I toasted the beans, and in this video I'm just going to be shelling the beans. So I'll turn the camera around and show you how that's done. So what I have here is a little stack of 3 dishes, and the top dish contains some shells of cocoa beans that I've already shelled. These are really lightweight and you'll often find them in garden centres for use as mulch and stuff like that. Second one, the reason I've got plates on top of each of these is because cocoa beans, particularly when they're shelled and peeled, are really odour absorbent. So I just cover them up to keep any odours from the kitchen out of them while I'm shelling them. So these are beans that I've blue peated, in other words already, here's some I made earlier, already shelled. I think you need to be a certain age to get that reference, so apologies to any millennials watching. And the last one is a bowl of the unshelled beans that I toasted in the previous video. So the way I normally do this is I put the large plate to one side, get a handful of the cocoa beans here, I'll put them there so that you can see them, and just a good handful. Now this is normally something I do while I'm, I don't know, watching something on Netflix or whatever, because it's a job that when you do it first takes a little bit of practice, but then once you've done it for a while, and I've made quite a lot of chocolate by now, so it's a little bit more instinctual. You can sort of, it's a job that you can do while doing something else, so it's quite meditative, but it does take a long time. So to shell this whole bowl of beans that we toasted, that I toasted in the other video, that'll take probably, I reckon, maybe in total 5 or 6 hours to shell all those. I'm not as fast as some Mexican señoras who can shell these like in their sleep. It seems like they can just do it really, really quickly. I'm quite slow. So anyway, here's toasted bean, and the skin, I don't know if you can, I'll try and get this here because I don't want to get all bits of shell all over the table, but it comes off pretty easily very often. And got a perfect little bean in the middle, which is great. So, oh, wrong bowl. So this is pretty simple, really. The whole exercise is one that can be done quite quickly. But not all beans are alike, so some of them, the shells will be stuck to the bean a little more. Let's see if I can find one that's a bit more. So if you've toasted them well, and if the beans are good quality, then that will reduce the likelihood that you're going to have sticky shelled beans. And these are good quality, and I have toasted them well, but there will still nevertheless be some which are perhaps more immature, or the beans are, for some reason, they're just tighter in their shells. And then you'll occasionally find one which sort of went mouldy or bad, and you can weed those out. And you can tell they've gone mouldy or bad because the shell and the bean are kind of one mass, and they kind of have a crumbly, friable, not great texture. So anyway, I'm on the go slow because I'm talking while I'm doing this. So normally I would be doing this, I'll probably be doing it at this pace, to be honest, because I just, as I say, I sit there and watch something on Netflix, and it just becomes a nice little relaxing exercise, and you get all the smell of roasted chocolate while you're doing it. So it's not a penance at all. So anyway, get the idea. It's not terribly thrilling watching somebody shell these beans. The bean shells, just to talk a little bit about, so these beans are then what we use to make the chocolate that I'll be doing in the next video. The shells here, as I say, they're often sold as mulch, and quite expensive decorative mulch, because they're organic matter, they break down, but they do work quite well in window boxes, stuff like that. So from a batch like this, the amount of shells I'll get will fill this little bowl up, which is, you know, smaller than the original bowl. If you can see them. How am I doing it? Right, side by side. But it'll be enough to mulch one window box. So if I do this 3 or 4 times a year, I always have enough cocoa mulch for all my window boxes, which is great because I've got a little flat, an apartment, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 window boxes in total. Perfect. So yeah, anyway, right, not particularly exciting one, just wanted to show you what the shelling was like. Again, let me see if I can do this a little bit more close up for you. So here's one little bean in shell. I just get my thumb in there, find a spot where there's an air bubble, as it were, and then just peel it off. And then if you squeeze it between your fingers, you can shuck the whole thing off and you get a perfect little cocoa bean like that. Now, if you're a beginner, you often find that the entire bean just crumbles and explodes in your hand, and that does still sometimes happen. See if I can, so this one, the skin is a little bit tighter, so I think I can get it all off. Yeah, that's fine. Again, perfect little bean there. I'll just keep doing it until I get one that has a nervous breakdown. Then I can show you what a nervous breakdown in a cocoa bean looks like. All right. Nope, that's perfect too. I'm just showing off my shelling skills here. It's great, right. Okay, that's good. All right, well, you get the idea. I'm just shucking the shells off these. Let's see if I can find what that looks really tight. So this one, it's a little bit knobbly. I don't know if you can see there, but it's kind of like got a knobbly surface. And when I press it, I can't feel a lot of give. So it means the skin is quite tight onto the seed. So I have to use my nail there and just dig a little bit of skin off it. And then I'm just gonna use gentle pressure to squeeze the rest of the skin off the bean. Et voila, very good. And this one, you can see it's a little bit more excitingly shaped. So this one, the skin may also be a bit harder to remove in one piece. Now, okay, let's see. You might not get an entire bean from this. And the thing is, if a bean does fall apart and you get a handful, I mean, I'm doing pretty well, that a handful of shell and bean fragments, the way to, let's just, okay, so if I just smash it a bit and then it's falling apart a little bit. So, oh no, I've got a handful of bean fragments and shell. So if you have that, one way that you can separate the shell from it, because it's so much lighter, get your table messy, but whatever, is blow. And that'll blow away any remaining fragments of shell, and the heavier bean will stay in the palm of your hand. So you can do that. Anyway, that's enough shelling. Much too long for a video on shelling. I'll get on to the much more exciting chocolate grinding and the actual making of the discs for drinking chocolate in the next video. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.